All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Time for the little jingle that we haven't done in forever. Pose, 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 pose. I do adore. Pose, 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 pose. I do adore. What is up, awesome people of the internet? Today is November the 18th and the week 3 AP poll for women's college basketball has been released, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. We have seen some major changes. Some teams have slid all the way down, and other teams are rising up. Let's talk about it, okay? All right. And of course, we're going to start with the team that is number one, that's going to stay number one for a very long time. It is the South Carolina Gamecocks. I mean, you know, they're just doing their thing. They're doing their thing, chilling at number one. They are 4-0 on the season so far. They just been handling their games. Very much been handling their games. Chloe Kitts has been doing her thing. Like I've really enjoyed watching Chloe Kitts play. I think she's averaging like 17 points a game this season. Like she's doing her thing. Also, Mylasia Fulwell is doing her thing as well, coming off the bench, just continuing to be their dominant self. You know, they do have some really good games coming up. But last week is pretty easy, smooth sailing for South Carolina. They have received unanimous votes at the number one spot. All right, next up we have the UConn Huskies. The UConn is 3-0 on the season so far. They're doing their thing as well. Gino Auriemma, shout out to him. He just tied Tara Vanderveer's record in terms of most wins. So he is at 1,216 wins. On Wednesday, they'll likely win because they're playing Farley Dickinson, so like that should be an easy W. So on Wednesday he will officially be the number one winningest women's basketball coach ever for college. So yeah, that'll happen on Wednesday. But yeah, I mean they're doing their thing. They didn't really have anything to really write home about last week. So yeah, staying solid at number 2. Number 3, another situation of just staying solid. We got USC. They are 4-0 on the season so far. Juju Watkins, she has scored her 1,000th point, which is wild considering she is only a sophomore. We just saw Flau'jae Johnson just reach 1,000 points as a junior, and 4 games into her sophomore season, Juju Watkins has already hit that mark. So like, she just keeps going. she just keeps going and doing her thing. She is averaging 21 points on the season so far. And they're getting it together. I think Kiki and Juju are a great pairing, really great pairing together. Number 4, we got the Texas Longhorns, guys. I just saw Texas play yesterday. They absolutely demolished, well, not demolished, but they beat DePaul pretty badly. I was at that game. Shout out to the folks that I saw at that game. Texas is 4-0 on the season. 3-0, I should say. They're doing their thing. Not much to write home about. They did not have really tough games last week. So yeah. Also, fun fact: they did not hit a 3-point shot yesterday. No 3-point shot made, which is kind of interesting. How they were able to just like pull in the points without having to rely on a 3-point shot. Okay, let's go down to number 5. We got UCLA. UCLA Bruins. They're doing their thing, 4-0 on the season. Again, there hasn't been really any movement at the top. So these teams are they're winning the games that they should win by the margin that they should win them. So it's pretty simple. Last week we saw UCLA take down Arkansas. So that's good. Kiki Rice is finally back, so that's fantastic. One thing to note, guys, is that we will probably see some movement come next week's ranking. The reason why is because UCLA will be playing South Carolina on Sunday. That is next Sunday. That is going to be the most important game of next week. And so I hope y'all plan on watching that game. That's going to provide some movement. If UCLA can surprisingly take down South Carolina, yeah, they're moving on up. They probably won't be able to, but who knows? Who knows? That'll be the great competition from last week, from this week though. That'll be the really good competition. So hopefully y'all end up watching that game. It is on Sunday, South Carolina versus UCLA on FS1. So watch out for that game. All right, number 6. We got Notre Dame. We got them ladies at Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. They're doing their thing. They are 4-0 on the season. I just love to see, Hannah and Olivia Mouse kind of be that 1-2 combo. They're scoring machines, they're passing machines, and they're defensive machines. They could just do a little bit of everything. They also have Leah Tu King as well, and also shout out to the youngsters on their team as well. They're rocking out. We do have USC versus Notre Dame on this upcoming Saturday, so that should be a really good game to watch. It's going to be on Peacock, so you should check that out for sure. Yeah, big game. There will also likely be movement on that front as well, depending on who actually wins that game. All right, number 7, we got LSU. They are 4-0 on the season. Not much to write home about. Again, Flau'jae Johnson did reach 1,000 points for her career. We saw Anissa Morrow get another 20-20 game. They're winning the games they should win. They do have a game later today against Troy, which they should for sure easily win that one. Next up, we have the Iowa Cyclones. Again, no movement on that front because Iowa State Cyclones. They are continuing to do their thing. I love the sort of, it was the freshman connection last year. Now they're the sophomore connection. They have these underclassmen for Iowa State are just so fun to watch. And I was talking to someone at the DePaul game about Iowa State, and it's like, hey, you need to go to a home game because Iowa State, that's a lit arena to go to for their home games for the women's basketball team. So like, I gotta hopefully maybe one day I'll be able to check out an Iowa State game because I heard they be wild, and they definitely do have a huge advantage when they play at home for Iowa State. All right, next up we got the Oklahoma Sooners at number 9. I mean, Oklahoma, they got Reagan Beers. They got arguably the best transfer in the market this past offseason. And Reagan is, it's like she never left Oregon State. She's just as dominant as we remember her being. This time, though, in the ACC, or SEC, I should say. Oklahoma's doing their thing. Again, not much competition that they faced so far. They don't have much upcoming this week. They don't have that much competition. They are playing Wichita State on Tuesday. All right, now let's get to the team that let's get to the team that is doing their thing as well. We got Kansas State, K-State Wildcats at number 10. Ayoko Lee, she's healthy and she's continuing to do her thing. They got a big dub against Creighton, who is not as good as they used to be, but like still is a very, very formidable foe. And so, yeah, K-State continuing to win. They do have a game later today against Little Rock, which, of course, they should win that game as well. Number 11, we got the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland is fun. They got scoring this year. They got some defense, and they winning some games. Of course, more tougher games to come, but really good start for Maryland. They are 5-0 on the season. We got the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 12. Ohio State, they're rocking and rolling. They are 3-0 on the season. Jelani Cambridge, I just continue to enjoy watching her play. I made a video talking about her, and a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people are talking about Jelani Cambridge, but I think she is extremely, extremely talented. And definitely is going to be a player that, especially as we get closer to conference play, she's going to be a name that you're going to hear a lot when it comes to the Big Ten, for sure. They do play, Ohio State does play in-state rivals Ohio on Wednesday. All right, next up, we got them ladies at West Virginia. All right, so let's talk about the Mountaineers. They moved on up a little bit. Moved on up from number 15 to number 13 this week. They are 4-0 on the season. They're just winning a bunch of big games. They had a big game against Texas A&M last week, which was awesome. They're rocking and rolling, and I love to see it. I really do. So shout out to them. Shout out to the West Virginia girls. They're doing what they need to do in the Big 12. You know, conference play I think is going to tell a lot about West Virginia, but I'm enjoying watching their non-conference games so far. All right, number 14, we got the Duke Blue Devils. They also moved up 2 spots from last week. They were number 16. Now they are number 14. They are 4-1 on the season so far, and they have a fun mix of defense, which has been their calling card for a little bit. But now I feel like they're a better scoring team this year than they were last year. And that's going to come in huge, especially as we eventually go into ACC play. Yeah, I mean, Kara Lawson's doing her thing. She's getting her team some big dubs. They did have a huge victory against South Dakota State. Now, the thing is, South Dakota State, a lot of people be sleeping on them, but they are a hard team to beat. I'm just saying, they can be a hard team to beat. And so yeah, just huge shout out to them ladies at Duke for getting these wins in. I mean, Duke they getting back to relevancy in women's college basketball. It's fun to see. All right, next up we got them Kentucky girls. So here's the thing about Kentucky. Kentucky has done a complete flip, right? You bring in, you fire your previous coach, you bring in a new coach, you bring in a boatload of transfers, several of them from Virginia Tech. And when you do that, what happens? You start winning. You start winning games. And last week, the reason why Kentucky moves up, they went from number 20 last week to number 15 this week. The reason why is because they had a fantastic game against Louisville. Fan-freaking-tastic game on Saturday. They beat Louisville. The final score of that game was 71, Kentucky 61. Louisville, and the way they did it, the way they ended up winning that game was, focusing on the post players, right? Tiani Key did her thing. Almost had a double-double in that game, right? Clara Strack, I'm continuing to love what she's doing. She almost had a double-double as well. Georgia Amore is finding her groove with Kentucky. She had 19 points in that game, 9 rebounds, almost had a double-double in that one as well. Georgia Amore is racking up assists, okay? Racking up assists. Here's a fun fact from ESPN. They said that Georgia Amore has 34 assists, which is the most assists by a Kentucky player through the first 4 games of a season since 2000. Yeah. Kentucky is very relevant. And I think that game against Louisville was just huge. The fact that you held a team that is actually really, really good at scoring to only 61 points, huge. So yeah, that jump up of 5 places, well deserved for sure. Okay, next up, we got the North Carolina Tar Heels, who did go down. They dropped 2 spots. They were at number 14. Now they're at number 16. Yeah, they lost the game. So when I don't know about them. They dropped down 1 spot, but the thing is, the game they lost last week was against UConn. And they played pretty decently against UConn, considering how good of a team UConn is. So kind of take the downgrade with a grain of salt a little bit, because again, yeah, you lost, but you lost against the second best team in the country, and you didn't lose by that much. So I think it's 11-point victory or something like that by UConn. So not the biggest of deals. They do have a game coming up this week against Ball State. All right, let's talk about Ole Miss. Ole Miss at number 17. They have moved up 2 spots. Not much to really write home about. I think some of the moving up is related to some of the negatives that we're gonna talk about later in this later in this AP poll. But yeah, I mean, Ole Miss is doing their thing. They have a great mix of crazy, fantastic defense, and they have scoring this year. They have scoring this year, and it makes them a dangerous foe. For sure, it makes them dangerous. All right, number 18, we got the Baylor Bears. Baylor has dropped one spot from last week, from number 17 to number 18 this week. They are 3-1 on the season. Now, the thing for Baylor that y'all have to remember is, like, Baylor has some really good players on their roster. And we just got to see how the season continues. I think they're a fun team. I think they're a team that can possibly make some noise. I just really want to see them in the Big 12. I think the Big 12 has some huge talent this season. And, like, how does Baylor actually fare? Like, that's going to tell a lot, in my opinion. They play Southern Miss this week. Next up, we got the TCU Horned Frogs, who are making their debut on this list. Now, guys, here's the thing. TCU is a team that I've been watching since the season started. Even though they weren't ranked. I was watching TCU because they just had a lot of really interesting things going on with them, right? TCU is a team that has been like a transfer darling, right? They have the former Oregon coach. They were able to bring in some big time transfers, right? You bring in, you previously got Sedona Prince, right? You bring in this year Hailey Van Lith from LSU. You also bring in Donovan Hunter from Oregon State, who, yes, sometimes y'all be sleeping on some of those Oregon State transfers, but Donovan Hunter, fantastic. You know, sure, she's not going to score a whole bunch, but defensively, oh, Donovan Hunter is fun. She's fun. She's very, very fun. You also have, some pretty good talent like a Taylor Bigby, right? And it's a good recipe. I think that Sedona Prince is just dominating. Guys, TCU took down NC State, guys. That's why they're on this list, because they beat NC State. And in that game, it was like total domination. Well, not total domination. It was like nobody could really stop Sedona Prince. Sedona was able to kind of generally do whatever she wanted. 31 points, 16 rebounds for Sedona. Hailey Van Lith, who struggled to score and pass when she was at LSU on a consistent basis, I think has really found her groove. Yes, she was terrible from the 3-point line, but she ended up finishing the game with 18 points, 10 assists, guys. This is the first time Hailey Van Lith has ever had a double-double with 10 assists. First time ever for Hailey Van Lith. I think she really is enjoying being with this new team, and has really, really made TCU her new home. Shout out to the TCU Horned Frogs for doing the thing that I didn't think they could do. I didn't think they was going to beat NC State, but they did. They did beat NC State. And speaking of NC State, y'all see that 7-point skid? Y'all see it? Y'all see the 7-point skid? Yeah, it's because they lost against the unranked TCU team. Now ranked TCU team. NC State has talent, but largely the problem with them is that you need more from more than just Isaiah James. Isaiah James is fantastic, right? She is absolutely fantastic, but you need more from everybody else, right? You need, like, Sanaya Rivers needs to be getting closer to that 20-point mark. That they need it. The funny part is, in that game against TCU, Isaiah had 27 points. Total domination, right? She did her thing. She did her part for her team. But you got Sanaya Rivers, 16. Zoe Brooks, 15. Zam Jones, only 7 points. Mallory Collier, just 1 point, right? Madison Hayes, just 6 points. And Trigger had 1 point off the bench. That is not good enough to make it far in the NCAA tournament. Like, this NC State team is a good squad, but if you have players that don't show up, you're not gonna win these big games. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win, and you're gonna get got, and that's exactly what happened. Shout out to NC State for, or not shout out to NC State. Shout out to TCU for taking down NC. All right, next up we got Nebraska, who is holding steady at number 21. They are 4-0 on the season so far. Yeah, not much to really write home about on that front. They do play North Alabama this week. All right, number 22. We got them Fighting Illini Lady of Illinois. They are 3-0 on the season. Last week was their debut into the top 25. They're still there. They're going to be there for a while. They had some pretty winnable, easy games for themselves. They are 3-0 on the season. Number 23, Oregon. Oregon is 4-0. Again, not much to write home about. They haven't played this past week. They didn't really play anybody, so, that's fine. They do play Grand Canyon later today. 24, we got Alabama. Alabama is 6-0 on the season. Yeah, they played more games. It feels like just about everybody else. Yeah, again, not much to write home about. They will not have another game for a whole nother week. So, nothing to really write home about on that front. And then at number 25, we got the Louisville Cardinals. They are 2-2 on the season. They have dropped down pretty badly from number 18 to number 25. The reason why is because, they did lose. They're 2-2 on the season. They did lose to Kentucky, which was a game that they should have won but did not. So yeah, we're gonna see how they kind of do for the remainder of the non-conference play, right? So the two games that they lost is against UCLA and against Kentucky. So we'll kind of see how everything kind of goes from here. We do have some notable votes right here. Others receiving votes include Iowa, who got 88 points. Eventually, 88 votes, I should say. Eventually, they're gonna be on the top 25. Eventually, Lucy Olsen, Hannah Stokey, and them girls, they working. 88 points or 88 votes for Iowa. Michigan has 38. Michigan State 15. Vanderbilt 14. Stanford got 9. Florida State 5. Miami with 4. South Dakota State 3. Tennessee 3. And Richmond 2. That is your week 3 look at the AP polls. What do y'all think about it? What do y'all think? Let me know in the chat. I think this is largely pretty accurate. I don't really have any changes at all about the poll and about where people are placed. I think it makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below. Polls are back, and join me every single Monday as we go through the polls that we do adore. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank y'all so much for supporting the channel. If y'all could, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Let me know what y'all think about TCU in the chat. Like, I really like TCU. Really, really, really do. That Sedona and Hailey connection, oh, it's good. It's good. It's really, really good. Yeah, last year TCU was pretty good too, but the problem with them is that they had injuries, and it kind of like derailed them. Like they were actually starting to make some noise in non-conference play last year, but then injuries kind of mess it up. We'll see if they're able to stay healthy this year, what happens on that front. But yeah, that's the video. Thank y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.